right, let's do this thing. It is Thursday, March 18th. Welcome, everyone. Look at this. We got. I love how we always get the graphic, just kind of hype the whole crowd up. This is great. We got the guest crew just rolling along here. I love how we're just finally we're getting cool here, guys, with a lot of guests. Finally we have the great Lynn Peterson joining us here in the studio. This is great. So finally in the living room, we got. This is. I am so excited for this interview, guys. We've been talking about this one for a while. Lynn, so thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, guys. It's great to be here. Great to see you guys. Great to meet some of you.
Yeah, we got the great Chad Catrigo and Zach Rothenberg. I'm Kieran McCauley taking you into another Thursday night here. And we're getting. I mean, it doesn't look like it with the weather here in the Northeast, but we're kind of getting closer to spring, right? The Phillies are about to come back home. Liv, you got some work to do in the MLB circuits in a little bit.
Absolutely. We start getting COVID tested for that in like a week.
Oh my God! All right, so to that point, we'll jump into all that. So it's funny. I'll let you do. I'll hype you up, but you can speak better to everything you do. I'll almost paint a picture of how, like the first thought I had just, I mean, we obviously went to college and we're in the sports circuits at Temple Athletics. I'm rocking the Temple House stuff for you. But, obviously in the college circuits, right, we met in the athletic halls. But I remember I'm watching a Phillies game like a summer or two ago, I think, maybe this past summer. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's Lydia. That's definitely who she's on TV. And I remember mentioning, I was like, wait a minute, my friend, she like from college, she's definitely like involved with like that MLB replay review. And then, I took a look at your LinkedIn. I was like, oh my God. So you are very much, and it's not just baseball, but so you are a video replay technician for MLB. You're a senior content correspondent for the NFL. You work in the NHL circuits, the NBA circuits, the college circuits. You're all over the place. So That's my hype. I'm not the best hype. I gotta admit, these guys are fantastic.
Yeah. It's not more impressive than me saying. I feel like I could take you with me so you can introduce me everywhere. But yeah, just to speak to that a little bit. We met in college. We just played basketball all the time. Did we not just hoop every?
Oh my God, it was so much fun. Back in the old trainers room, I feel like we'd have all those conversations and stuff.
Absolutely. And you had a wicked three, even though you were a big man.
It's a long time ago, guys. A long time ago.
Don't let anybody tell you that he can't shoot. He can shoot. But I mean, out of college, I just started getting into the video work. I started with the Phillies, and I met some folks there that brought me over to the Wells Fargo Center, where I started working with the Sixers and Flyers, doing making sure the TVs were working, doing some audiovisual stuff, like running microphones around, mixing post-game press conferences, which got really fun when you have like Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry playing and the Raptors and the Sixers going back and forth. Like that was like a fun time. From there, I started working with a company that that puts on broadcasts. They basically do like contractual work with like your ESPNs, your CBSs, your ABCs, NBCs, and they'll have a group of local folks work with people from national, like the national broadcast, and we'll go into an arena. And since I work in Philly, so it's mostly the Philly arenas. We'll go into an arena like Citizens Bank or Wells Fargo or the Lincoln Financial Field, and we will put on a broadcast, building cameras, building sets, that sort of thing, lighting. So yeah, I've been kind of working around my way, getting picked up by the Eagles to do some stuff with them, by the NFL, shooting some stuff for social with them. That's kind of where I'm at.
So I got a question, because I know a lot of people love sports and want to work in sports, but it's like very hard to find the jobs in specific, for teams or whatnot. So do you have any tips or, ways to go about an easier route to work with some of these professional teams?
I think people say this all the time, but you really do have to know someone. Yeah. You got to know someone. You have to cultivate that relationship. And you have to go out of your way to network with people who are already doing the stuff that you want to do. That's kind of how it worked for me. I was playing and I saw a camera guy and I was like, I'm on the sideline. I was like, I want to do what you do. Can we talk? And he brought me down to the Wells Fargo Center to shadow a Sixers game. I'm sitting on the floor like, whoa, this is a wild experience. Just and that's kind of how I got into it. Like, I met that guy, and finally, when something opened for the Phillies, he was like, something's open, I can recommend you. And then but there's a level of persistence and confidence you have to be like, I can do this job, someone just give me a shot. So I would say, confidence and knowing someone and cultivating that relationship and being a good person. Nobody wants to work around someone who's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big hurdle for a lot of people. So it really shows testament to yourself that you're able to voice your opinion and say that it's something that you want to do. So it's
and your work ethic. Oh my God! So at that point, you were a walk-on at Temple, and that just translated right to out into the real world. Just that grind and grit you have.
Yeah. The walk-on experience was one unlike any other.
Well, one of our big things about interviewing people is it turns into a little bit of a hype house. So you're probably just going to continue to get hyped up throughout the rest of this interview.
Oh yeah, we're very positive.
It's not awkward at all.
So Lyd, you're pretty well versed in different sports and different networks you've worked with. What would you say is your favorite sport that you get to be around?
Football.
Yeah.
Without like, I play basketball and I love basketball, but football. There's just something about that atmosphere. Like, it's just different. It's different.
The intensity, I'm sure, is just incredible. And you're on the field, right, or close to it, so you're in the heat of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was it last season when there were still people? Or that wasn't last season. It's hard to think of last year.
No.
We do the same thing all the time now. It's crazy.
Yeah, right. The year when there were still people, that season, I actually got to be in the Eagles tunnel as they run out, and it was like my first time doing that. I was just like, "This is sick!" Like, there's no way around it. Like, they're in the tunnel, they're coming out. Like, it's wild.
And it's funny because that's one of the questions we have a live chat too in our podcast. Actually, that's a little curveball for you. But that was one of the questions we had too, is just what was your favorite sport to cover? And I guess when you're looking at the NFL, is also some of that because of just like the intensity of like the meaning of each game, how there's less games, obviously 16 of them for each team, how they mean so much, whether it's there's fans in the stands, no fans, just that intensity behind it.
Yeah, that's something that I think baseball certainly doesn't have. With basketball, I feel like you can find it a little more because there aren't quite as many games as baseball. But every game is important. For basketball, all you have to do is make it to the playoffs, and then that's kind of when you turn that switch. But yeah, for sure, the intensity about every game, you can hear it. Like, you can hear it in the fans, like every play, and especially the Philadelphia fans. They're like, there's something else. Like, Philadelphia fans, like every play they're expecting excellence, hustle, drive. Like, they want the most excellent performance all the time.
So you talk about intensity. How, like, during the pandemic when there's no fans, like, do you hear more of that, like, from the players, or is it kind of is it lacking during the pandemic environment?
I mean, I haven't really asked any players about that specifically, but I feel like I'll say this: the stadiums did a good job of pumping in crowd noise. Like, they did do a good job of that, especially I would say for football. For baseball, it's kind of like a low hum. Like, people are the entire time at the baseball game. So for football, I feel like they tried their best. Nothing matches the intensity of a crowd. And they did get a couple games in front of fans. They had, as limited as it was. I think they had 2 games where there were fans. And I know they had away games where there were fans, especially when they played Dallas, because as we know, but yeah, I think it was missed. It was missed. Maybe not by people who were working, but the fans' energy was certainly missed.
Well, Chad, do you have something?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's funny. To that point, I'm like sitting here and I actually wrote in my notes, I have 1,000 questions about MLB replay review. But that's just, I feel like that's a world that, like, it's funny when I saw you on TV, I thought, wow, that's such a unique spot to be in. because you're a part of the entire replay process. You don't actually have to make the call on that. You're not the actual judge. It's almost like being on the jury, but like you're like the person typing up, in the courtroom, or like the sketch artist in the courtroom that's like drawing the jury and stuff. That's pretty cool because you get to hear all the details and you're right there for all of it, but you have no pressure of like actually having to live with like a guilty verdict or an innocent, like all that. So it's like the best of both worlds. So I guess I'll ask you the generic question first, but like paint me a picture of what it's like. You're putting the headset on, right? You're going through the whole get up, and like what it's like just to see a play under review, and like what also goes into that entire process that people might not know about.
Yeah, cool. So we get there really early, and during the pandemic, I think we had to be at games like 6 hours before game time. So it's just a lot of prep about making sure this stuff works, because it's like very specific stuff. So the first thing
there with the technology here that's always crashing is, nothing's changed since, college and Matt Fine's class.
Yeah, nothing has changed. So part of what we do, it's usually a team of 3 of us, and we're coordinating back between the trucks that help produce a game, and the camera and the actual equipment, and then my equipment as well. We do twofold. It's like twofold part of a job that we do. One part of the job is to connect the ballpark to the replay center. Now it's like things that you might not be thinking about, but like the clocks are really important, because like folks need to know, like between at bats, how long they're supposed to be taking, how much time between when the pitcher is coming out of the bullpen, and so like we have to make sure that those clocks are all the data is sent back. Then we have a backup to whatever, like if my stuff ever crashes, we got a backup that we have to check. And then there's some stuff logistically about making sure that all of the cameras are in sync, because if you get a replay and you see someone's hand, but it's like 2 seconds later, they all have to be in sync, otherwise the replay doesn't work. So there's certain connectivity stuff that we have to do prior to any game stuff, but once we get all the equipment up, I have to call in and say, hey guys, Secaucus, whoever's there, are you guys, just, we call it faxing. You fax out your equipment, just make sure everything works. And then a lot of times I'm sitting at a game praying I don't get a replay. I was like, I'm just going to sit here.
So you don't get that moment.
Yeah.
No.
Not in this city. That's leading right up to my next question, but keep going here.
No, tell me your question. I'll make sure I hit it.
Well, I'm just wondering with like the fan base in Philly, like when you're just sitting there and it's like 2-3 minutes into a replay, which is not that long in the grand scheme of things, but when you're sitting there waiting for a call, it's the longest time on earth. So in those moments, you just sitting there like, God, please just finish this up, like make the call, or like how does that go?
Yeah, nobody wants you out there. Players don't want you out there. The umps are pissed because they're like, why would you question our call? The fans are impatient. Just call already. They start booing.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But even just like when a questionable play happens, I'm looking for bullpens. I'm looking and to see if someone's like, and I gotta get up, and I'm like trying not to trip over anything. And then we have rules about what we're allowed to do once we're out there. We can't fidget. We can't smile. We can't give anyone. Oh. We have to be super, super emotional. And they're like,
do that job.
They're like rules and rules about it. So umpires will pick on you sometimes to like try and get you to smile or talk, and you're not really supposed to do those things. And a lot of times players will too.
Oh no.
It was something I had with JT Remuto, obviously the catcher, because he's the closest. He's going to be the closest.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Just picking on me while we were doing it. Don't come out here. Go back. Just like, come on. We know what happened. We don't want to stand out an hour looking at this. Like, what is there to look at? Just come on. And he's warming up right next to your ear. You're just like, whoa, like, don't don't miss the ball. Like, make sure you catch it. No one wants to get hit over here. So, I mean, there's a little bit to it, but I mean, you can sometimes hear even what the call is coming back as they're hearing it. Like, if I turn it up, I can hear it too. And a lot of times when we have fans, they have to be pretty loud, just in case, the umpires can't hear it. So I can hear calls as they're coming back, but and sometimes they take a long time to review. So but yeah, that's kind of what and I try to hide sometimes. I try to hide behind an ump because I know where the cameras are. But that's kind of what the process is like behind those replays.
I feel like after even after we're done with COVID, you should just rock the mask so no one knows what you're thinking or saying.
I feel like that's a good thing. Right? Yeah. Good.
Well, it's funny too because I wanted to hide this question to the end because I'm like, this is such a fun question to ask you, Liz. But I have to break it out now. I pulled the picture up earlier. You're next to Cowboy Joe West. That's part of the gig. So paint a picture for me what it's like working with him, because it's funny because I won't lie, right? We chatted a minute or two about this before we jumped on the show and how you're just, it's funny. So I won't just make it the generic answer. You were saying he's a nice guy, right? Like that, maybe he's not the stereotype that people say is the villain of baseball, if you will.
Yeah. People talk about him like that, but I mean, he's pretty cool. He loves baseball. If there's a fan of baseball, he loves baseball. So he's just out there mostly to have fun. I mean, he's out there mostly to have fun. So he's just doing his thing. I've seen him do some just controversial calls. I haven't seen him fight with anybody, but I've seen him throw coaches out, I believe.
It's the guy from the Nationals was what in the it was someone in the press box or something, Chad?
Oh yeah, that was probably the greatest moment in Joe West's career. Throwing a general manager out of a game from his own press box.
For not wearing a mask or something.
Yeah.
I mean, as he should. As he absolutely should. He'll walk by, when they're coming out of the tunnel. He'll walk by and he'll be like, all right, don't want to talk to you tonight. All right, just stay there. I'll take care of it. I don't want to talk to you tonight. He's got a fair point. You want to call a name as good as you can so that I don't have to come out there, right?
So has there ever been a pivotal call where you're just you're out there and you're just like, wow, and then they make the call and you completely disagree with it? You're in your head, you're like, how'd you miss that? Has there ever been a call like that you've been a part of?
Such a good question.
If you can't say, I understand.
Well, the thing is, I'm sure I have. I feel like I just can't remember.
It probably happens semi-often, I would think, maybe. As fans, at least it does in our lens.
yeah, but I feel like I can't remember. I remember I can tell you one good call story. It was really awkward, and it happened at Citi Field. I can't remember the exact play. So I scored a game. So I can't remember. It was I think it was a 1-3-4, supposed to be a double play, wasn't. But they called it because of scoring.
I'm just that's a double play.
Oh yeah, Chad played college baseball, so he's probably just amazed by the X's and O's of the matter.
Yeah, I score the plays every game. I go to the press box, grab a score card and score it while I'm sitting there. It helps with the replay stuff. Yeah. But anyways, so it was Citi Field, and I think they were playing the Pirates, and it was going into we're supposed to be going into the 7th inning stretch. They did the call, supposed to be double play. I think the inning was supposed to be over. During the break, they're singing. I don't know if it was. You know how they do the
7th inning stretch thing.
Yeah, the 7th inning stretch. They're singing. They're singing the song.
Yeah. There you go.
The whole song. Then they call me out of my little hiding spot, and Citi Field, it's on the third base side, and you have to climb under and then over to get onto the field. So weirdo stuff in New York. But so they call me out, and then they overturn a play, and they have to come back out. So they come back out, they finish, and then everyone has to sing the song again. Oh, you just hear like people getting out like, oh, this again. I feel like that's probably what, I mean, it has nothing to do with the controversial call, but I feel like that was one of the more bizarre.
No, that's a good story.
Well, I was going to say, to piggyback off of what Zach was going to, Zach's question, was there ever a call where you're looking around like, this could be history? Like, if this goes one where, like, you just know that however this swings, like, that it's going to make headlines tomorrow, like, whether in any, and, you know, even if it wasn't just baseball, just any of the games you've been around up close were just like, oh my God, like, I am going to be telling people about this one for a minute.
Not for baseball, mostly because the Phillies, in the years that I've been working there, just haven't been, good. You know, haven't been anything, right? But I would say that I've been around some pretty historic moments, I guess. One I can think of recent was I was working for ESPN. I was a part of the crew that was doing the jump, the jump, and we were setting everything up on the field, and there was this moment where we had to. This has nothing to do with the story, but I'm going to say it anyway. There was this moment where we had to drag the desk out onto the court, and it was heavy, and we needed like 12 people. Like, it made no sense for like the space that we were supposed to be doing. Anyways, so that was the day that they were there was the day that LeBron was passing Kobe in points.
Wow.
So I'm sitting there at this game. And, you know, LeBron and Ben Simmons are going back and forth. The Lakers weren't doing too well. I think they lost. But everyone was just abuzz about, like, what's going on with, you know, him passing Kobe. And I remember coming in the next day to find out that Kobe was dead. And so I was in the same spot. But I just remember being like, I remember yesterday so specifically. And Kobe was everything that anyone can, you know, talk about. And it's Philly, like Kobe. Half of us expected him to be there, you know? So that was one moment where I was like, everything just feels so surreal. Like, it's sports, but we were there. You know, we were there watching it. Like, his last tweet was to LeBron, who I was standing by. You know, like, it's just that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one moment that I would say for sure is like it just has a hold when I think of, like, historic sports moments. So I've been around for other historic sports moments, but, like, you know, that's probably one of my top.
Well, I'll spin it in a funny direction real quick. Unless, did you guys have something?
I was just going to go to the chat, so you go ahead. I can.
All right, real quick before we jump into the chat. So you mentioned LeBron. Do you remember back in college when obviously they still do it, I think, at Temple, when they got the new facility and they put the NBA court dimensions? Do you remember when the Heat came?
Yes.
And they wouldn't let anyone in. Like, it wasn't just the Heat; it was LeBron James' bodyguards wouldn't let any, like, the players or coaches except, like, our head coaches in the facility.
Yeah. I was so pissed because at the time,
I think we saw each other. I think we were trying at the same time.
I was so pissed.
James like, oh, I need my shoes from the locker room. No way, sir.
At that time, Dwayne, well, he is my favorite.
I remember seeing Dwayne Wade doing a layup, like, just through the glass, like, through the weight room, and just thinking, like, oh, God, like, there they are.
He was my favorite player, so I was pissed I missed him more than anything. Oh, man.
We were definitely together at that. I never forget, because we went back down the elevator, just like, damn it.
That's funny.
Oh, my God. That was hell of a...
Speaking of LeBron, I got a good LeBron story.
Oh, all right. Yes. Now I'm here for it.
One good LeBron story. It was, you know, Sixers Cavs back when he was playing with the Cavs, and it was a Sunday in, like, November, like, football season's in swing. Kyrie is on the Cavs as well at this time, and we go in the locker room post game. I think they beat the Sixers. I think. At that time, yeah, I think. And they had ESPN on or something like that, but it was the same day that the Giants were playing the Browns, and OBJ had caught this touchdown and proceeded to do the LeBron. Do you remember this? I feel like, Zach, you remember this? I was standing in the locker room, and LeBron's getting dressed and doing interviews, and Kyrie goes, yo, bro, look at this. Look at this. So in real time, I'm watching LeBron's reaction to OBJ doing his move. He's just like, bro, that boy is wild. Like, that's so cool. Like, he's just like, dude, OBJ, that guy.
And you're probably like one of the only ones who could tell that story. So that's so cool. That's such a cool story.
And I just remember Kyrie being like, yo, check this out. It was just like a full circle moment, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah.
That's so cool. I was gonna say, like, what's it? I mean, are you at a point now where you just kind of step back and you're just like, this is normal. Like, this is my normal life. Just being. I mean, right? Like, I mean, obviously, I guess we got a taste of it a little bit with Temple with some NBA people coming in, in and out of the facility and stuff like that. But I mean, now it's just like you're just in and out. It's like coworkers now.
Whoa! They do tell. I mean, the whole idea is to not be so like. It's about being professional. Right, so it's not like I'm walking up to players like, "Hey, like, how are you? How did you score it?" Like I'm actually trying to maintain my distance and my professionalism. I'm not like, So it's just one of those things where, I mean, there's a recognition of like, this is a cool position, or like we get to be this close, but you never want to like go beyond your, you don't want to go beyond your access. I will say I have done it once. And it was with Dwayne Wade. Like I said, that's my only cross the line play. But for fear of getting in trouble, that's it. That's my only person.
Well, and there's a great question too in the chat. They're asking, how many days a week do you work?
So usually it depends on the season. So like during baseball, if there's a 10-day, what do they call it? Home stretch?
Homestand, yeah.
Homestand, there it is. I'm forgetting the word. If there's a 10-day homestand, I'll probably work 10 days straight, right? And then I'll have like a week off maybe. And then in between, maybe doing some other stuff, some other coverage of other sports that are happening at the time. Basketball and hockey is usually about 3 or 4 events a week. So I work 3 or 4 events and then take the days off where there are no events. It all finds a way to balance itself, or to be good.
Definitely. Well, and I was thinking about it too. I was looking at the one picture you sent me with Bruce Willis. Like, you're coming across all sorts of celebrities, even just non-athlete ones. So, do you have any cool non-athlete celebrity stories that you come across in your line of work?
Bruce Willis was cool. He was really cool. I didn't know he was a Phillies fan, but I guess he's
really. I didn't know he was either. I mean, not that I'm not calling you out for not knowing that.
Yeah, I didn't know at all. Like, it could have gone a lot of ways. All right. Your jersey's there. You could have done the New York.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree.
I feel like when a state doesn't have a team, you just get a license to pick. And non-athlete celebrities, I enjoyed being present at the game where Kevin Hart was harassing Dwayne Wade, and then Dwayne Wade went off.
The one game of that series that we lost was Kevin Hart opened his mouth.
Game 2?
Yeah,
game 2,
it was.
Right? Yeah.
It was.
Right.
Yep.
That game, I was sitting directly. I don't know how it happened, but I was sitting courtside, right next to the courtside, like right on the side, like right at the half court line. It was very odd. So I remember having I have this video of like going back and forth between Kevin Hart and Kevin Hart. There's been some little Dicky moments. There's been some Meek Mill and Nicki Minaj moments.
You can write a book about that, I'm sure.
There's been some Gucci Mane moments. Even some on the Philly side, Carly Lloyd. She was cool. She was fun to meet.
What about Kendall?
I did not. I honestly stayed away. I stayed away.
Good. Everyone should stay away.
Yeah, I knew, but I did talk to Smashay.
Okay.
She was very sweet.
Really?
Yeah, she was really sweet.
That's really cool.
She would talk to fans and stuff. People were like, "Oh my God,
awesome.
So much!" Like she was really nice.
So
that's awesome.
Here's an interesting question that this actually just came to me. I didn't even have this one written down. So the Sixers in-game host, I guess that's what it's called, is Christian Crosby.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't realize this until the All-Star game this year, he's made like multiple All-Star appearances as the in-game host for the All-Star game. So I guess having a guy that's like the best in the business, like, do you think that plays into how the crowd reacts at certain moments, or do you think it's just the Philly fan base?
I would say Christian is really good at his job.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
really good.
I've always liked, down at the stadium, he's great with what he does, but I just seeing the recognition kind of made that question come to my mind.
Yeah. I think he's really good at his job. This is a weird comparison, but I feel like it's similar to like Gritty or like the Fanatic, or like he's been chosen to do All-Star games because he's the best at what he does, and so like it's kind of similar with Christian. I mean, like, he's got his like staple in the fourth quarter. This is our house, and this is, he has his own like staple things, but he's come a long way. He used to be a part of the like dunk squad, and he's worked his way up. So I would say if it plays into the crowd, I mean, I'm sure it does.
I mean, at this point, he's part of like the staple, like you said, of like the Philadelphia like fan base, or at least the Sixers. Like
when you go to the Sixers game, it's part of the experience. He's part of the experience.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And he's not squandering that opportunity. Like he's like got music out now that they play pregame.
Wow.
He's doing the mostest. He's doing great.
Nice.
By the way, Zach, just a little fun fact. So we posted picks, predictions, if you will, of who's going to win the playing games tonight in March Madness on the men's side. And I had Mount St. Mary's in the first game at 525. They ran out of gas about 3/4 of the way through the game, and they did not win. They lost. They did not. Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad news for our good friend of the show, Fitz.
Uh-oh.
How bad news can it be?
Well, we were very high on a team, actually St. Mary's last night.
The Mountaineers, sure.
Well, they also lost, so he's now losing 2 times the money because he bet on Mount St. Mary's by accident and then realized that Mount St. Mary's plays today, so we bet on St. Mary's, and then now he lost. He's losing that bet twice. Is basically where I'm.
That's not good. I'm actually trying to take a look. Of course, I can't reach my remote. I want to see what the scores in that Drake Wichita State's in the American Conference. But at that point, I want to see what the scores in that game. Of course, just come on, update the score one more time. Okay, never mind. But anyway, to that point, let me ask you this. So I saw one of the videos I loved was when you were at the link for the Winter Classic, or I guess it wasn't the Winter Classic. It was like that Stadium Series. Was that when the Flyers played the Penguins?
Yeah, it was.
What was that like, just seeing a rink out there? And I'm sure just going through the whole process and seeing the construction of the rink, like an outdoor facility and stuff.
Yeah, that actually was a cooler story for me because that was actually the first time that I was on camera at the link. Right? Yeah. So they put me on the game camera at the link. And we were working with NBC that night, which is a little bit odd because normally, the in-house production just sort of, shoots for the big bird type thing. But our cameras were going to NBC because of, I believe it was the Keith Urban bit of the show. We were going to sing the national anthem or something to open that up. And so I was really excited to work that event because some of my bosses over at the Wells Fargo Center were over at the link and they were seeing me in a different role, so I wasn't just doing certain things. I was on camera now, and entrusted to kind of one of the most important cameras. It's like the main camera, you're just going with the action. I was a little worried because with it being my first time and all, it's at night. You're about 20, 30 feet further away from a tiny little puck that you would be in the Wells Fargo Center. You're closer. I was just worried that I wasn't going to be able to keep up. I was like, hockey moves fast. These guys are professionals. How am I going to do it?
Oh, well, and just to chime in, my dad, I remember he played hockey, and we used to talk about that because it was one of those things as a kid I would say, I wish I could go to the Winter Classic or one of those outdoor games. And he used to say, it's so hard to watch the puck, and he would even say it's got to be impossible for the broadcasters to try to have a good angle. And to that point, it's almost like golf as a camera person, just trying to track the puck like you were saying. I can't even imagine how hard that is.
Yeah. So it was tough, but they were like, "You're gonna do good." And honestly, that's how a lot of people in broadcast react. Like, just throw you in the fire, you'll be fine, and that's just how you learn. So that was my first time. Yeah, that was my first time with the Winter Classic, and it was freezing. It was cold. I remember it was cold. It was supposed to rain a little bit, which I think it did. Gritty jumped off the roof at the lake. It was a lot going on. There was a lot going on, but it was a lot of fun. I just remember like some of the broadcast folks got to put on skates afterward and just go skate on the ice. I did not bring my skates, and I also wouldn't want to embarrass myself like that. But it was a fun experience, I'd say, for sure.
Kieran, that's probably one of Doc's last big calls for the Flyers was that game.
Yeah,
because that was the overtime game with the Pens, and
yeah, when Claude Giroux showed being a captain for once.
Yeah.
I feel some type of way there, Lid, with the Flyers.
I can believe it.
It's all right. They've now gone 4 periods without goal, Kieran.
Oh yeah,
that's
great. That's right. They're playing tonight. That's
yep.
Loosely speaking. But I'll tell you, speaking of their neighbors across the street, Chad. The way I love Aaron Rodgers, Lid, is probably the way that Chad loves Bryce Harper. And the fact, it's why I pulled this photo up like right when we started the stream earlier tonight. The fact that you're, let's say, 3 feet from him in this picture I got pulled up, that's like Chad's probably like, that's like, Ponce de Leon was trying to find the fountain of youth. Like that's kind of like what, Chad would probably be looking for like in his lifetime mission. So like what paint a picture, if you will, and just describe what it was like, just, especially now, I mean, because you were saying when we were talking before, right, that was when he was on the Nationals when the picture was taken?
Yeah. So the other half of my job with MLB is that I help with the live shots that they have. So MLB Network will have programming throughout the day. Sometimes they'll bring in players or coaches or commentators or, writers, however. And there's just programming that's happening like all day on MLB. Some of it's like fun and silly, and some of it's like, more serious. But the ballpark cameras that we work with, we set up those shots. We, a player comes over, we clip on the mic, hey, just run this up your shirt, blah blah blah. You know how we were taught. We do that.
Oh my god.
Set up the mic.
Medium production 101.
It's in handy. We set up our lights.
What was it? The white balance with the camera here.
Exactly. Literally all of that stuff. It could be whoever's visiting. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the home team. It could be anybody who's visiting. And this particular time was, the Nationals were in town and they had asked for Bryce Harper to come on and talk, and it was raining, and so I had hoisted myself onto this. What is it called again? I'm forgetting the word, but I hoisted myself up and I had this umbrella held on top of him, and I think we didn't have the sandbags to make sure that the wind didn't blow away, so I had to stand on it. And someone from the MLB Network took a picture and was like, "You are literally hanging onto this thing to make sure it doesn't move and hit this player in the head." And I was just like, anything for the job. We've had some cool interviews that we've done that way. I got to interview Joe Girardi when he first came in town. It was like he came out to me, I was the only one there, and I was like, all right, let me set you up for this interview, and let's do your first interview as manager. I've got to be able to do some really cool stuff with some of the interviews. Alonzo, we've interviewed just some really cool ones.
And let me ask you, so look at the chat. So Joe had a good question. So he jumped in late. So, and I know we talked a little bit earlier in the show, a little bit like what's the most intense call you've had to go through and stuff like that. And I guess you were saying there hasn't really been like that moment where you really felt the gulp, your pressure down your neck kind of feeling. But let me ask you this. I'll kind of spin off of that question. As a fan, I mean, you're a Philly sports fan. Is there how do you kind of get that conscience in place where you're sitting there just please overturn it, if it's for the Phillies or something, or any of your teams, right? Is that hard to shut that off, or is it you're at work, you can just kind of flip that into work mode?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes in the heat of the moment, I don't even know which call they made. Like sometimes I don't know. Just want to get back to the seat. Don't trip on camera. That'd be bad. So I mean, but yes, I'm always rooting for the Phillies. Again, I'm not supposed to do that, even from where I'm sitting. So like when something good happens, like you guys, I don't know if you guys watch, Phillies baseball. Bryce Harper hits that's grand slam at the end of a game, and he's running around like with the helmet off, the hair flowing. We're watching this moment, and I want to cheer because I think it was extra innings. It was a long day. Like I just want to cheer, and I'm like, all right, let's pack up. Like it's just like there's just no rules about it. But
if you really want to be engulfed into how much I love that man, it was the bottom of the ninth.
yes,
And we came back from 5 runs that game because our offense decided to do nothing until the 8th and 9th innings. So,
yep. I think they did a replay review at the end of it just to make sure something, like some time or something. I think they wanted to check something, but that's one of the moments where I'm like, I want to cheer. I can't always turn it off. Like sometimes I just see something and I'm like, oh yes, wonderful. But I can't always turn it off. I try to, but I can't always.
So does it make those, like with your job and having to keep that straight face, does it make it a little bit less like enjoyable for yourself, or is it still just equally as enjoyable?
Yeah, I love it because even when I'm not out in the field, like I'm still watching free baseball games. Yeah. Like I'm not even watching free baseball. I'm getting paid to watch baseball games. Like I absolutely love it. I love the people around. Yeah, like the team photographers are great. They're all with me, and there's cool stuff you can see when you're looking into the dugouts too, because I can see directly into the third base or the away team's dugout. So there's stuff I'm seeing and hearing. I'm like, ooh.
I was gonna let me piggyback off that. So first, this is great because it's a basketball part to this question and to Zach's question. So you see the movie Like Mike, right? With Wow Wow. Okay, right. So you know the part where they're like, "What's the best part about being in the NBA?" And then he's like room service, and he's like, "You pick up the phone, you dial 6," right? That whole thing. So Zach and I were talking a while, and obviously as we hopefully grow the podcast and stuff, we'll get credentialed to go to some games and whatnot. And he was asking me one time, what's it like? Like, what's the difference, right? And I was trying to explain to Zach. Of course, I suck at texting. I text books and 1,000 messages like in a row. But can you do a better job of explaining what's it like to be credentialed and just how much different that is from just going to the game as a fan if you've never done it before?
Oh yeah.
It's a very open-ended question.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. So it's at first it's really, really cool, right? So not only do you get to go to something that you would normally go to anyway, but you get to be. It's not even a front row seat. You get to be in there. I think I had a deep sense of this when I worked the draft. So it's not only do you get to be there, the draft is a really fun event. And when they did it in Philly, there was a lot of really cool stuff that was going on. But you get to be there, which is one thing, but then you get to walk to the part of it that's closed off and just nod at somebody and walk through and you just get to.
It's VIP at the club.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. But all your favorite sports people are there, it's extra fun, being in the Eagles tunnel. It feels special. It just feels special. It's something that you don't want to blow it and take it for granted, but you also want to and you don't want to be too geeked out that you can't do your job. So, it's it's a special thing. So you want to savor it in the moment, but not be too, you want to act like you've been there before. But it's really special. And it's really special too when you can do that at other stadiums. I think this year was my first year that I went to Heinz Field. That place is really historic. But, it was my first time going, and I just remember being not only do I get to be here, I get to be anywhere here, really. Which is
you want history, Lyd. You got to go right here for a game. Right
there, I got to make my
football, as they say.
I will make my way.
That's another question I have for you, Lyd. So you've been doing some traveling. Is there one particular stadium to you that really sticks out the most, whether it be historical or just overall ambiance of the stadium?
Fenway.
Oh, I bet that's on my list. I don't know if Kieran or Chad, you've been there, but that's.
I've been around it. My parents toured it.
Fenway. There's just something about, and I'm not a Boston fan. I don't really have anything like.
Oh no, we wouldn't have you on this show if you were. That's all. Trust me, we know that already. I'm just.
My dad is a Celtics fan, so I grew up having to listen to him cheer for the Celtics. But I mean, just going to Fenway, like seeing the teammates sign outside. I took my pup. We took all these pictures outside. Like it's there's just something about it. It's just nice. I like it.
That's cool.
But I haven't been to too many. Stadiums. I really enjoy PNC Park with the view because it's like it just opens up to the city and like everything.
Roberto Clemente Bridge in the background.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Now, into that place, I'm like looking at my notes here. Is there anything? It's weird with the Eagles today. It's been it's like going. It's almost like there's like the winter formal and the couple broke up and now there's like the springtime prom and there's that like everyone's there but they're with their different things now and it's like Carson Wentz has press conference today with the Eagle or with the Colts and then the Eagles with Howie Roseman and Sirianni they had theirs. Like being around just the Eagles, like I'm not asking you to be like so what was going on with Carson Wentz, but like I'm just gonna almost just basically vaguely ask you like. What's your input on just what happened in a very bizarre Eagles season the past year?
We're
throwing the hard hitting questions now. Wait,
this is the one
millionaire.
Right. This is the one thing I will say about it because, no one's paying me for my opinion, and also like I maybe know as much as the next Joe Schmo, right? But the game versus was it versus the Saints this year where Jalen Hurts started?
Yeah, and then we beat them without Drew Brees. Yeah,
right. That day when Jalen Hurts started, the team was excited. Like in a way, I had been to all of the games prior. Fans, no fans, however you call it. Like, there was something about the way that he led the team, the way he wasn't like Carson's routine, when you're there, comes out, well, he gets there early, comes out, he would warm up right by the end zone, like on the far side of the Eagles tunnel. He'd warm up over there, he'd do his warm-ups, and pretty much he'd go back in. He wouldn't say too much to many people. He just kind of do his thing, go back in. Jalen Hurts is not like that. And the way that his team, when he was starting, rallied around him, there was a difference. It just seemed like there was a willingness to be like, oh, we like this guy. We want to go play for this guy. Let's go have a game. Like that's how it felt. Right? That's how I felt. Now, in all the games that I had worked prior to that, in this particular season, in the 2020 pandemic season, I haven't felt that way. Like Hurts was standing outside of the Eagles tunnel while Zach Ertz and the tight ends and the defense was coming onto the field. He's standing there like, let's go, guys. Like I've got video of it. He's like, let's go. He's cheering them on. Corey Clement's way flying, and they're like, there's excitement there. That's just not the way it was when Carson was. So I just think that there was a difference in the way that he related to the team. Just from what I've seen.
I love it, but that's such that's a real take, right? That's not like, oh, well, I heard from somebody that was around the building. Like you're actually in the building. Like that's. I mean, I think that's a real take.
But I think he cared. I think he had an opportunity to, when they brought in a younger quarterback, I think he had an opportunity to ball out, to be like, no, you don't need him, you use me. He had an opportunity to do that. I don't think he did. I just think there are certain things that are telling. I think he loved the team. I think he, was like, I think he got along with everybody. But he just
didn't have it. And that's one of our buddies Ryan will say in the chat. He just didn't have that it factor that will just take him over the edge. And that's what Joe was even saying too. Or, we were talking about like he's not going to be the guy that beats Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. And even if he does, it'll be a divisional round game where he does it, and then they'll get axed in the AFC Championship kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I hope nothing but good things for him though with Indianapolis.
And the chat loved that perspective, by the way. And we got PA highlights. Yo, little shout out to them too on the chat. But that's one thing that someone in the Twitch chat was saying. That's just a great perspective, Lyd. I mean, I think it's just really cool just to hear it from that angle.
Yeah, I mean, it was my job to capture everything. Like it was my job to be at the games to capture big moments for the NFL, for their social teams, and it's just even when I go back and I'm looking at footage that I took, you can visibly see that, and it's not stuff that would make the broadcast because it's before the broadcast starts. It's warm-ups, it's pregame, and that's when we're supposed to be shooting. Like that's our busiest time. So yeah, it's just stuff it's little stuff for sure.
And just to tie that together, there was a moment before the NFC Championship game a couple years ago that, I mean, it's not widely talked about, but if you talk to some people that were there, the entire team in warm-ups was just geeking out to this Cardi B song. It's escaping me right now. Anyway, they're all just dancing to a Cardi B song, and like people are like, yeah, like we knew we were gonna win, like right then. Like before the game started, just the entire team was just loose, ready to go. So that kind of stuff can happen in sports where you might be a good team or a bad team, but just the way that all the players are interacting on that given day will just make them play better or worse. So
yeah,
it's a very unique perspective, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think he's a good dude. I think he's a good teammate.
Yeah,
good player. You don't make it this far without being that. But I just, right fit, maybe not.
And it's funny, I saw in the chat was just asking, like, where would you want to cover a game? So Fenway Park. See, look at that. See, I got us covered here.
What do you guys think arenas? I gotta know.
So I've been around for a minute. So Lyd, I want to see all the major league ballparks. So I'm at 14 or 15. I was supposed to see the Reds and the Giants before the pandemic last year, but I feel like I went to Wrigley with my dad. I feel like that's just like that trip in itself is just kind of like in a Hall of Fame of its own. But Target Field to me is like my sleeper MLB stadium where the Twins play. It's like pretty cool. There's like bars and stuff like around, and it's like minor league prices for like food. I remember I got hot dog, chips, a water, and a beer for under $10, and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. Yeah, it was like it was just like a good vibe. They had cool giveaways and stuff promotionally. So that and Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City and Arrowhead, both of those are really cool.
All right, so
Field have 3. So really, just go to Kansas City. That's my recommendation.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, so for me, it's close between Lambeau and the Bills Stadium. But I'd probably give it
the Bills.
I'd
say it.
No, it's just because of the atmosphere. Just because of the atmosphere up there.
Oh, Lyd, you got to hear Zach's tales about this. This is like grade A storytelling.
I loved watching them play this year, so I'm open to listen.
Yeah, so the fan base just isn't insane. Like Bills Mafia is for real. Like they're just another breed. This is how passionate they are, and like I saw a grown man wearing a nothing but an American flag thong, running and jumping onto a table, and it was 20 degrees this game. It was cold. It was a very cold game.
Oh no!
Bills being good too.
This is like 2 years ago. Yeah. 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 We parked in a lot called the Mud Lot, and it was all muddy as you would imagine. That was the only place we could park. And there was a guy like dancing around and belly flops into this mud pit. Like it was just the first thing I saw, and then I see the mud pit, then I see the guy in the thong with breaking a table, and then we're in line getting in, and there's people like fully muddy, like broken hands, like from jumping on tables. It's just insane, like in a good way. It's just crazy.
What?
Yeah, it was wild. So. But I think I give the edge to Lambeau just because of the history and just because of the cheese and the beer. I mean, come on, it's delicious. So
it's a good time. Lyd, anytime you want, like we can go up there. It's a good time.
Okay, all right.
And then mine, I share. I think I share this with my dad, which is kind of cool, but just for different reasons. Is the old Yankee Stadium? We went to a game out there when I was a little bit younger, and the reason I liked it so much is just like the old Yankee Stadium quite literally had about 10% of the best baseball players of all time have their home games played there. So like at least 81 games a year, like the top 10% of the MLB had their home games played there. So there's just so many people that walk those grounds. So I thought it was awesome. And then his is just hilarious. So he's a big Twizzlers fan,
Okay.
like obsessed with Twizzlers.
Okay.
Yankee Stadium.
Obsessed with those?
Yeah. No, the old Yankee Stadium is the only ballpark, stadium, whatever you want, to have Twizzlers be sold like peanuts or like anything, like just like they were walking around with Twizzlers, and my dad got a kick out of it, and like he'll still tell that story, like he got Twizzlers
That's
So
fantastic.
funny.
from the old Yankee Stadium.
That's fantastic.
That's really cool.
That's fantastic. Wait, what was the question in the chat? I don't think I answered it. I started talking to y'all.
So they were asking, I think that they were just asking like which stadium if you could pick one. So I know you were saying Fenway earlier.
Yeah, I mean,
Is there any other ones? Like
that
NFL,
I would
maybe?
want to go to, or like that I would want to work
Yeah,
at.
if distance wasn't a thing, you can just literally pick any stadium at any of the 4 sports that you could cover a game at. And I'll even give you this: you can set the stage too. Everything about it. It's complete free sketch, freestyle.
Well, I want to visit. I do want to visit Wrigley. I think Wrigley. If we're talking
So
baseball,
cool.
like Wrigley would be really cool. And I also think where the Rockies play. Oddly enough.
Oh my God! You want to
Coors Field, yes.
I feel like I want to go there. I want to check that out.
Have like 2 beers less than you can actually take.
Yeah, it's
Kieran will tell you about that one.
Yeah,
yeah. We told this story on the show before, Lyd. This was. So we go to brunch. So we a few of us took a trip out to Denver, and what we did was the Friday night we went to the Red Rocks. Saturday we went to the Rockies and hiked. Sunday we were going to a Rockies game, and then Monday we were going to the Broncos Chiefs Monday Night Football game at the Broncos Stadium, just to kind of wrap the whole thing into a trip. So we go to brunch before the Rockies game. It was bottomless brunch, and yes, apparently something with the altitude with give alcoholic beverages, it sneaks up on you folks. So just word of advice. People have mentioned that, but I didn't really actually I just thought maybe breathing wise, like it was tougher, like going up a flight of steps, but like I didn't actually think like drinking would impact you with the altitude. But anyway, so we're feeling pretty good, and yeah, it was a day. So we had oh my God, our one friend had a bet that he put in for all of us where it was the runs had to be scored in the first inning of this game. So we get there, and $3 Coors Lights also before the game at the Rocky Stadium too. So that's a fun fact. So the game starts. We're in the I'll never forget this. So they're playing the Nationals. The Bryce Harper's last year there, and they go up, and I'll never forget. They had bases loaded, nobody out, and they strike out, fly out, and we're just like, oh my God, there it was, like that we had to get just a run there. So there goes the bottom of the first. So we're just like, okay, maybe we have one more shot. So the Rockies have second and third with nobody out. And we're just like, oh my God, all right, like come on, just get him in. Like here we go. Like we can get this hit to hit. Strike out. We're just like, oh my God. And then like obviously after having a brunch like this, it's an emotional time for all of us. And I'll never forget Nolan Arenado just comes up, and I remember looking down, just thinking like, God damn it, and just hearing, and I just remember seeing this ball just fly, and like people 9 rows past the outfield just stand up to catch it, and like I just remember picking up my roommate Joe G and hugging him, just screaming, and we're just like high fiving everyone in the outfield, like we were Rockies fans, and people probably thought we were nuts, but thinking that we'd never seen a baseball game before. But yeah, there's my Coors Field story for you there.
That's fantastic. That was fantastic.
Oh
wow.
God! But go, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, if I can handle the altitude.
Yeah, it's oh my God! Well, let me ask you this. So, do we want to do a little March Madness chatter real quick before we wrap things up?
Sure.
So we got the playing games tonight for on the men's side. So well, let me ask you this: I'll give you the men's and the women's side. Who do you think is going to win this year and why?
I honestly have no idea.
I think everyone has been tough watching the games this year with I mean, it's different, right? With like no fans in the stands and stuff.
Oh yeah. March Madness is 100% about the experience, and it was usually like my favorite thing to watch with my dad. Like that's what we watch. Like that's what we can agree on. Like we have different teams and everything. Like he does Celtics. I used to do Dwayne Wade wherever he was, and now I don't know where I'm at with basketball. I do Eagles. He does Dolphins. Like it doesn't make sense. But I mean, right? Yeah. But like 1 year, the dance is so beautiful because anything can happen. That's what it's about. Like, that's the joy about it. I have no idea who's gonna win. I feel like I need to hear y'all picks first.
So it's kind of cool. You might like this story. I actually was at Gonzaga's campus 2 summers ago.
Okay.
I had to go out there for meetings, so I snuck into their arena and stuff. I acted like I was like, because I had my business stuff on, so I was acting like I worked in there and slipped right in, and it's cool. Spokane's it's a small town, but I think they're going to win. That's why I brought them up. But I think Gonzaga's going to take. I think this is the year they bring it home.
Zach, who you got?
Yeah, for our bracket, I took Gonzaga as well, just because I figure if there's any year that Gonzaga is finally going to do it, why wouldn't it be 2020, 2021? Yeah, so. I just think the stars are going to align for them, and I do like Arkansas though as a number 3 seed that can make
Arkansas, baby.
Woo! Shout out to Cole.
I have a pick that nobody's got. I got Texas. Texas has some
good losing the first round.
Nope, they got good guards, Kieran. This is how you win the NCAA tournament. You have good guards.
I have a hot take. Georgetown is going to be the Kemba's UConn and make a run.
Wow, Georgetown.
Who's the Kemba on the team, though?
I don't know. I'm just kidding.
So that's the problem.
I would love to see it
with them.
Their best asset. Their best asset is their head coach.
I know. Pat's got the magic. Now, you pumped to watch the games this weekend, just all across the board? I mean, because it's been a minute. We lost to last year. It's probably. I mean, we're not in it as much. I mean, do you remember that back in the day too? Just going through that experience. Let me actually ask you that. Just going through from the women's perspective, going through like the tournament and trying to qualify and like all of that. What was it like as a walk-on?
Yeah, well, we never did in the years, so I can't really speak to that. But I think it was the NIT, the WNIT we played in my first year. And I feel like we were snubbed the first year because we were actually really pretty good.
Oh my God, yeah.
The rest of the years, yes, we probably deserve the NIT and WNIT for sure. But that grind is something else. That grind is something else. Getting ready for tournament play. And especially after conference play, that's a big grind.
I just remember.
I got a question for both of you. You ready for this one? Because I don't know if you know this, but I went to LaSalle, and I know exactly. But so going to all those Big 5 games, like I would just be watching the Temple student section, and I just feel like there's no way you can get that YMCA, whatever the hell it is, like where you guys are just going.
Yeah.
That's what you're calling the what?
Oh yeah.
It is literally like a 2-minute chant where you're just the hands are going all over the place. So it's like, do you still have that memorized?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to sing it now. I just ruined it, but...
You ask St. Joe's people if they know if the hawk will never die? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, but the hawk will never die.
The cherry and the white.
Yeah.
Although I honestly didn't know until after graduation that it was, I just was like, yeah, like I didn't realize university was the word. So I kind of was just like, I skimmed through that part when I was a kid in college. I know it's not good. It's confession time.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh my God!
Sorry, the hand motions just got me every time. It just looked like people were having seizures in the crowd.
Well, that's because there was like 12 people, in the football game crowd. That never helped.
Yeah, unless it was homecoming, nobody was going to be there.
No, and even that, It's funny. I was gonna say, what do you think about the American Conference? But that's like I feel like a story for another day. I know it's not fun. That's we were talking about that the other day. It's not a fun conference.
Didn't they take UConn out of it because UConn didn't want to. What was it? UConn didn't want to give up something. It was like a broadcast thing.
Oh, really? So they're phasing out.
Oh. Yeah, I think UConn is out of it, at least for women's basketball. I didn't think they wanted to. There's something about
it might just be for that, just because like they know they're bigger than that. Like they don't have to play like Tulane.
I
remember that. I remember thinking like, come on, girls, like maybe they compete, and then I'd like look at the box. Well, was it this year? Last year, I remember seeing they were like tied at the end of the first quarter. I'm like, oh, and then it was just like, and I looked at the third, and I'm like, oh,
yeah. UConn's like that.
Oh my god. Well, so, do you guys have any other questions? I was gonna say I have one more, but
no, I'm good.
Take it away.
I'm scared. You got one final question.
No, it's funny. So I'm curious, with all the replays, things you've seen in the game, if there's one rule change you feel like just that you've seen just continuously, like they need to fix this, what would it be?
Yes. I've been waiting for Terry to ask me this question. What about baseball?
You always got it on the high note.
Everything in baseball needs to change. Honestly, it's just like, this is like throw a wish up, like wishful thinking. What I wish would happen. Is that the question?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, genie in a bottle.
I wish that they play baseball a lot like they did like back in the day. I wish you just got to really face like one pitcher. Like just get a pitcher out there and let him throw the ball, not burn his arm out, okay? But like, you know what I mean? Like just
like throw 9 innings and like not be scared to make it happen.
No.
Oh, I love Chad smiling. Yeah.
Like just get like the pitchers, this mentality, like get stronger, like go play a game. Like
no, it's not. That's the damn problem. It's not the pitchers that can't be strong enough to go pitch the game. It's these guys in suits that went to Ivy League schools that now know how to use a calculator and think that pitchers can only pitch 4 innings at a time to be successful. And we end up just having no successful pitching in the entire league, and the hitters do everything.
That is true. So. You look at Gabe Kapler, the amount of times he'd take Aaron Nola out, where it's like, oh, Aaron Nola's at like 82 pitches, and he's got like 9 strikeouts, and it's like Gabe Kapler's like, no, but we want to do a double switch. It looks like that's the right time to do it. It's like,
a lot of people complain about the pace of the game. That's part of it. So we don't have to switch in every reliever now, right?
Yeah.
And like. There's something about the respect of just like, you got to face the pitcher. I enjoy, so right now with the designated hitter, I actually enjoy watching pitchers hit. So like, people are kind of up in arms about that. I enjoy watching pitchers like go up and, I find it really cool when they can do stuff like that. Like when you get this is not a very good example, but like when you get like a Vince Velasquez, right? He can hit, but he can also, he can pitch. And I remember his like first game when he had like 16 strikeouts or 17 strikeouts, something like that. Like he could pitch,
That feels like a decade ago.
Right, it wasn't that long ago. Right. But I wish that it has become a little bit of a money ball situation, like you're saying, Chad, where like there's some math to it, I guess. And I know a lot more people who play baseball like know more about it than me, but I just wish that like. If fans complain so much about the pace of the game, like just let the pitcher pitch. Like let's get through it. Let the batters stay in the
not people out there. Let them play.
My main problem with just like why I keep saying like people in suits and numbers is you cannot put into a mathematical equation when another team messes up a bunt coverage and you end up having a guy that was supposed to be out at second base now at third base, and you have second and third with no outs, as opposed to like legitimately having a guy ground into a double play just because you think that he has to swing the bat instead of laying down a bunt. Like it is astronomically insane to me that people think that this can be determined by strictly numbers.
Yeah, so. I mean.
You got me to rant. There you go. That's a great way.
Yeah, that's what I wish would change in baseball. I actually think that the replay should stay because there are calls that are just they're a little outrageous, and I think too that sometimes the strike zone should be automated.
Oh my God! Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Not to say that I want to get rid of umps because we
The
need
human, no, you gotta keep the human error. Like what? Anyone that says you gotta keep the human error in the game, that just to me is. You want mistakes? Like,
well,
what does? Yeah, like why do the mistakes like turn you on? Like that's like just make it robotic. Like look at tennis. Like it works.
But think about this, like nobody understands this unless you've played the game or been around the game long enough, is half the time when these umps are making horrible calls behind the plate, it's like, yeah, it's their job. They should be better at it. But it's not like when you have a guy out there throwing 84 to 87 and then the reliever comes out of the bullpen chucking 102 to 105, like that is, it's not like just like a normal difference. Like that ball is coming in fast. Like,
it is.
So trying to see the difference between 87 and 102, and then in a split decision second. God, I can't get that out.
Split. Yeah, you know that is
split second decision.
There we go.
To say strike or ball, like that just. It's not the easiest thing in the world. So having an automation in that regard would not be the worst thing.
Yeah, but I mean, not for the whole thing. I feel like you could still keep the umpire there, but like if he gets it wrong, there should be some way to be like, all right, we're not. That's obtuse. That's obtusely incorrect.
Well,
like if you're off by some error, like cool, but like if you're off by like more than you, then I feel like there should be a way to be like, oh no, recall that.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. This is fun. Look, we got to get you back on, especially when the season starts and like everything's rolling around and stuff like that. What are you working on next?
Right now, this is odd. This is an interesting question. Right now, because I've been so involved in video and film and stuff, I'm putting out my first feature film about my experience as a walk-on. It's called Walking On.
Oh my God!
But it is fictional. So I'm putting out a movie in the next. It should be like the trailer should be out next week, and then.
And if like people follow you on Instagram and stuff, is that probably the best spot to kind of get updates on it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh wait, was I supposed to give out my Instagram?
Oh no, so I actually pulled up the handle already for you. So it's _ lid 2. See, like, yeah, look at this. I still got it. Oh my God. So yeah, so that's awesome though. So and where can everyone see it? You said.
Well, I have an Instagram page for her, which is I think it's at Walking On Official. It's not available to the public yet. It'll be coming out soon. It's going to go through some festivals first.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's really exciting.
I love it.
But gotta keep it multifaceted. You know, don't get bored doing one thing.
Yeah.
So it's a basketball movie. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, to that point, we'll hype it up on our social media circuits when it comes out. And to that point, speaking of ours, we'll pull up real quick for everyone. So if you can't watch the video episodes here of Living Room Sports Talk, you can always check us out on Spotify and iTunes for all those cool audio episodes. And check us out on social media as well at _GetSideTracked on Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And then check us out on the website, www.get-sidetracked.com. And my first of the 4 picks tonight were wrong. So that's a good start, folks. Yeah, this is is anyone Alexa, what's the score in the Drake game? So she's speaking very low, but I heard Wichita State was winning. So that's not good, and it's at halftime. So, all right. But anyway, nevertheless, all right. And going back to the video stuff, if you want to check us out on Twitch, follow to the heart to the left, subscribe to the right. And by the way, we got to get you in our bracket before it closes tomorrow. So we're hyping it up. We have the first ever March Madness bracket here with SideTracked, and it's fun. So all people have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, which I'll pull up the video there and do a little demo for people so they can see it. And we got $100 gift card, $100 Amazon gift card for the winner, $10 per winner, and like the rounds and stuff. And then we have a Bob Knight signed Looney Tunes photo. This thing's like the real deal. Oh yeah, I'm not even kidding. It was through Chad's work through Hunt Auctions. So we actually have an autographed Bob Knight pick. So yeah, so everyone jump in. Like I said before, the bracket closes tomorrow before all the games. Yeah, no, but this was a lot of fun. Like we seriously, this was. I mean, just hearing all these different stories, it was just so cool hearing the ins and outs and just just all of it. I mean, just chit chatting again. It's been a minute since we talked.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, like learning random things about you guys.
Oh my god, I know. Yeah, it's buy and beware with that, right?
I'm here for it though. I absolutely enjoy all of it.
Oh, we'll have to have you back for sure.
Sweet, man. I'd love to be back.
Also, we want to thank everyone for checking out the show. So we'll be back on the air. Well, so here's the thing: we'll have a discussion about this, guys. What are we feeling? Should we do a show on Monday with the tournament games? We should almost feel like we should do we'll do all the social media stuff. We'll release what's going on with that, and then we'll announce it for the world. It gives everyone a reason to follow us on social media.
We could throw it back to where we were right at the moment that everything went to shit last year.
Did you see Rudy Gobert's gonna die? Like, oh my god, what a world that was a year ago.
All together in the same living room.
Jazz OKC. I know we had like the couch like all together. We're like, here we are, we're streaming. Like, yeah, it was a year ago, Lynn. What a time to be alive.
yeah, what a time indeed. I was at that game.
Were you really?
Oh yeah, that controversial Sixers game.
That last one.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's probably weird.
So obviously, I say go for it on Monday.
I like it. Yeah, we'll get the vibes back. So we're back in the living room at 7:00 on Monday. But perfect. Everyone has a great weekend and enjoys the games, and we'll see everyone in the living room Monday. I was close. Almost had a good.